The president has been doing racist things for decades, whether it was his call for the jailing of the Central Park Five, the birtherism scandal during the Obama years, him calling white supremacists at Charlottesville good people, or more recently, his use of derogatory language against a number of African countries. And when he does this stuff and people call him a racist, his allies respond by throwing up their arms in outrage and saying, "How dare you? The president is the opposite of a racist, and you are contributing to the overheated rhetoric we have in this country." Now, after the president's Truth Social post last night, I think we can finally put that disingenuous pearl clutching to rest. And the White House is already trying to gaslight their way out of this scandal, and we should not let them. So let's dive into it. Last night, the president went on one of his late night Truth Social spirals where he posted and reposted, I think, upwards of 60 or 70 times. And you know, it was everything. It was election conspiracy garbage. It was weird stuff about how close he actually is with Melania, which is actually pretty comical because it's like, we know that's not true at this point. But it was kind of everything. But there was one post that really cut through everything and has set off this firestorm in the country today. And so I'm going to play this racist clip he posted of the Obamas, and it's pretty short, and we will talk about it on the other side of it. Let's take a look.
Heard that favored Joe Biden.
Yes, the president posted a Truth Social post of the former president and first lady depicted as monkeys, which we obviously know is an incredibly racist trope. And the White House, so of course, you know, this backlash was immediate because this is unfathomable that a president, even one as horrible and morally bankrupt as Donald Trump, the fact that even someone like him would post this is dumbfounding to people. And the backlash was immediate. You had Mike Lawler come out, swing state Republican in New York, come out and say, you know, obviously this isn't okay. It needs to be taken down. Senator Tim Scott, the lone black Republican in the Senate, responded by saying that he said, "This is the most racist thing I've ever seen come from the White House, and it needs to be taken down." Now, I do think one of the interesting things in that reaction is the fact that Tim Scott is saying the most racist thing he's ever seen, meaning does that mean that Tim Scott has seen a lot of racist things come out of the White House and this is where he draws the line at something that is so far beyond the pale that even he has to go, okay, I guess I'm okay with the other bits of racism I've seen come from Donald Trump, but this is where I've got to put my foot down. And so, you know, this backlash started. The White House clearly didn't know what to do with it. And so this is how Caroline Leavitt originally responded to the backlash this morning. In her statement, she says, "This is from an internet meme depicting Donald Trump as the king of the jungle and Democrats as characters from The Lion King. Please stop the fake outrage and report on something today that actually matters to the American public." Interesting, Caroline. I actually do think the president being a racist is something that matters to the American people. And this obviously, Caroline Leavitt has no morals, no value, no backbone, and she's not a good person. But this bad faith reframing of it is something that it drives me crazy to no end when it comes to this White House, because they basically restate everything, but they do it in a tone that makes it seem like, well, of course, how could that be viewed as something that's wrong? And so this claim of it was just depicting Democrats as animals in a jungle that Trump is king of is bullshit. And we know that. There was a deliberate choice here made to depict two black people using a racist trope, like turning them into apes. And guess what? I have not seen the full video of that. Even if that full video exists, that choice makes it racist. And the president's choice to amplify it means that he is supporting it and also makes the president a racist. And what is interesting about this is clearly that response didn't work for people. And so the White House did end up pulling the video down. And then they came out with a new kind of bullshit answer for what happened, which is, you know, here we've got that they pulled it down, but the White House staff is now saying that a White House staffer erroneously made the post and it has been taken down. I do think it is important to note there, actually, that the post was up for 12 hours. So clearly not something that the White House staffer saw and it was an erroneous error. It was up for 12 hours. And also, we know this isn't true. The White House, Donald Trump, for that matter, got caught doing something egregiously horrible even for him. And now the White House is looking for a scapegoat. And so they're going to just blame it on a staffer. Maybe if someone calls for a firing, they will say the White House staffer has been let go. We know what happened here. And we should not let the White House and people like Caroline Leavitt, who we cannot trust as far as we can throw, we should not let those people change this narrative and turn it into a situation where they claim a staffer did this. The president of the United States did this. This goes with the pattern of his behavior and what we've seen him do. We know he's a racist at this point. This is not out of left field. And I think what is interesting here is you already do see some backlash coming from voters who are pissed off. And I think for even a lot of them, they can't believe that the president would go so far as to do this. And so I want to play a clip of a voter who called into C-SPAN this morning to voice their discontent about what they saw. Let's take a look.
Voted for the president, supported him, but I really want to apologize. I mean, I'm looking at this awful picture of the Obamas. What an embarrassment to our country. All this man does is tell lies. He is not worthy of the presidency. He takes bribes blatantly, and now he's being a racist blatantly. And I just want to apologize to everybody in the country for supporting this rotten man.
Now, I get where a lot of Democrats could be frustrated watching this clip of this guy, because for so many of us, we have been shouting from the rooftops for 10 years that Trump is a liar, a grifter, a cheater, a felon, a fraud, and a racist. And I could see where people would see this now and they'd be banging their head against the wall saying, sorry, this is the thing that just made you realize this after all we've seen over the past, I guess even going back to the 80s, that now this is what's going to change your mind. And I think it's also fair to wonder if some of these people would come out of the woodworks if the economy didn't suck as well right now, which is, clearly those two things pairing together are getting a lot of working class Americans to turn against the president. I would say at the end of the day, we have to meet people where they are. And politics is about coalition building and not emotional purity tests. And so I understand where this is frustrating, but these people are starting to crack from the Trump coalition. And now it is up for Democrats to bring plans to those people to bring them in the fold, whether we are frustrated or not. And I do want to go back to something here, though, of Caroline Leavitt talking about, what matters in the country and people needing to focus on what matters in the country. Guess what people care about in the country right now? The cost of living and affordability crisis, which this administration has clearly shown they have no interest whatsoever in tackling. And for Caroline Leavitt, show where the American people are at right now in terms of how they feel about this administration's handling of the things that actually matter.
I guess the question, as we get closer and closer to the midterms, which party do people trust, knowing how they feel about how Donald Trump has handled things when it comes to the economy?
Right, the economy, right? Affordability. Donald Trump has been dismissing affordability concerns, but when 54% say the top priority should be lowering prices, not much of a surprise, right? Party trusted more in affordability. Overall, it's the Democrats by 14. Look at this. Among independents, I'm laughing. It's 39 points. It's a blowout. This is the entire ball game right here. And when you're having a 39-point lead among independents, a 14-point lead overall on affordability.
Now, look, at the end of the day, a lot of things have to come together to get people to break apart this coalition and turn against the president. The economy is one thing. As we just saw from that polling, people are firmly behind Democrats for the first time in a long time in their belief that they are the party to be trusted with the economy. Pair that with the president's blatant racism, and there is an opportunity here for Democrats to trounce Republicans beyond any reasonable doubt, no matter what kind of election tampering happens from Republicans in the upcoming election. And this is an opportunity for a new coalition to be built because of the actions of this president. That's it for me today. If you liked what you saw, throw a like on this video, follow the Dem Wins Media YouTube channel, follow me at buildingthebench.substack.com, and we will keep bringing you the news as you need to see it. Thanks for watching.